For LBC, I'm Andy Ivy.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
I'd like to punch him in the face. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, and it's all credit to the lads, and the lads done great, and it's all down to the gaffer because the gaffer's fantastic, and the fans have just been great. So it's all credit to the fans and the lads and the gaffer. It's all credit to them. 03. Why am I giving out the number? I haven't said anything yet. So Marina Hind did fantastic work. I love your work, Marina Hyde, not Hind, Hyde. She wrote this yesterday about Prince. What's it? Randy Andy. It's just a priceless column. It's basically a classic Men of the World vignette. Lying in business dress in the New York mansion of his friend Jeffrey Epstein, Prince Andrew is receiving a foot massage from a young, well-dressed Russian woman. Other men are in the room while this is happening, and they include Epstein, also being foot massaged by a Russian woman, and the literary agent John Brockman, who runs a foundation collecting scientists and intellectuals with billionaires. Oh, connecting, not collecting. Connecting, not collecting, idiot. As the young Russians work on their feet, Andy is complaining about his lot. In Monaco, he says, according to Brockman's account, Prince Abbot works 12 hours a day, but at 9 p.m. when he goes out, he does whatever he wants and nobody cares. But if I do it, I'm in big trouble, says Andy. Oh, Andy!
Warning! Warning!
Stop whining!
Stop whining!
Hit the wrong one. Never mind. We'll edit that out later. Marina writes, wah, wah, wah. What could be a more effective heartstring tugger than other European princes have it better than me? It's right up there with Chandler's line from Friends. My wallet's too small for my 50s and my diamond shoes are too tight. And what is this? It's just absolutely the greatest impertinence to suggest that His Majesty knew what was going on. What rot? The Duke of York has been appalled by the recent reports of Jeffrey Epstein's alleged crimes, said Buckingham Palace. And Marina Hind writes, I'm slightly sorry for the royal flunkies who had to issue this line, given that most of us are suffering eyeball strain from all the rolling we're doing. Even so, I do feel we need further clarification on what precisely the Duke is appalled by. Is it just the recent reports? Because if we're meant to believe that Prince Andrew is appalled by all of the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein, both the ones alleged and the ones he served actual jail time for, then allow me to treat his statement with all the dignity it deserves. To wit, and then she writes something very, very rude that you can write in The Guardian, but I can't say on the radio. Don't ask me why, you just can't do it. If you're on television, of course, it is against the law not to say rude words after 9 o'clock. Apart from the news, you won't be able to find one show that does not swear after 9 o'clock. I promise that's true. But not on the radio, not now, not ever, never. For some reason. I don't know what it is. Nobody has ever been able to explain it to me. There's a very keen caller, which I'm rather concerned about taking. Should I take that call right now?
Keen.
Is he? He's keen. Yeah, but should I be keen?
About Donald Trump.
Yeah, no doubt. But should I be keen to take his call? Can you even hear what I'm saying? No. Put your headphones on, man. By the time they meet for breakfast on Sunday, Boris Johnson will have had more telephone calls from President Trump than Theresa May did in nearly 3 years as Prime Minister. Hey, we're still not missing you, Theresa. But I do hope you're having a more pleasant life than you were when you were a PM. How did that work out for you, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
Kick off your clown shoes, put your feet up, Mrs. M. You deserve it. And when Boris Johnson is on the phone to Donald Trump, I bet that Boris does not get a word in edgeways. Have you heard, Borak? My polling numbers are huge. Everybody loves me, wants me to be president for life. I do a fantastic job. You know that more than anybody. Have you heard what Donald Trump calls Boris Johnson? Oh, talk about adding to the embarrassment. Donald Trump calls Boris Johnson Britain Trump. Not Britain's Trump, Britain Trump. Like little Trump. How embarrassing is that? What's worse is that the leader of this country is putting up with it. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
And Britain Trump is a description that the screaming Mimi clearly regards as the ultimate compliment. He's just like me, and that's fantastic. Everybody says so. And as we take back control from our respectful allies in Europe, our Prime Minister appears to be playing along and acting like Donny's pet and doing his bidding. Fetching his slippers, no doubt. Boris refused to back Britain and favoured Donald Trump instead. Do you remember Britain's ambassador to Washington? A man with a glittering career that was thrown aside like a used hanky by Boris Johnson because Donald Trump didn't like it. Did one of his usual screaming Mimi fits when somebody said something nasty. Boris refused to back Britain's ambassador to Washington last month. And Donald Trump has insisted that we have to obey him on a list of things that gets larger every day. Am I the only one that's concerned about this? We'll have to get into line on Iran. Very bad people. We'll have to side with him against China. And Huawei in particular. We'll have to forget taxing the tech giants like Google. We'll have to accept American food standards, and which, by the way, has made America the athletic country we know them for. Their food. And there's his whole stance on pollution and climate change. He thinks that climate change doesn't exist. He thinks pollution is a way to increase profits by not having to clean up corporations' waste products. If that's our future, abandoning a position at the top of the table of a coalition of countries to spend our lives trailing along meekly behind and agreeing to every insane whim of Jaffa the Hutt, then leavers are going to explain to me how that is taking back control. Because it doesn't sound like it. It doesn't look like it, doesn't feel like it doesn't smell like it. I mean, at the moment, do we not have shared values with our European allies? And are those values not in direct opposition to what Donald Trump thinks? And do you even know what Donald Trump thinks from 1 minute to the next? So we're either going to have to change our beliefs to match his, whatever they happen to be at any time of the day, or we're going to have to be the ones that he's calling nasty and having a hissy fit about and writing about us on Twitter.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
I mean, like the rest of Europe, we wanted to make the Iran deal work. You remember? It was working. We all agreed that it was working. And then Donald Trump woke up in a huff and cancelled the deal because he thought it would get his fans whooping at one of his demented safe space rallies. And up to now, Britain has remained committed to make the deal work with Iran along with France and Germany. But as Trump usually does, he's going to make a big deal out of it. And we'll have to change our stance if we want a huge and tremendous trade deal. And we're already told by the US to seize an Iranian tanker off Gibraltar last month. And we said, righto, sir. We certainly will do that right away. I mean, it didn't come from nothing. America said do it, so we did it. How's that for taking back control? It's amazing what's going on. And then there's the plan to tax the American tech giants. Google and Amazon and all that lot. It's perfectly reasonable, as those companies are draining the cash out of countries the whole world over and paying nothing back. Actually, zero corporation tax in a lot of cases. So quite rightly, for the benefit of the nation, we could do with some of those billions that are being siphoned out of the country. Britain supports this, and France supports it, but Trump says no. Trump actually threatened France that he would start a trade war with them. Like he hasn't got enough on his plate having a huge and tremendous and easy-to-win trade war with China. God, it would be pretty weird if he didn't threaten us with the same thing, wouldn't it? For doing the same thing. And Boris Johnson campaigned as a green Tory, a tree hugger, practically. Like a hippie.
Groovy.
But Donald Trump isn't. Donald Trump hates trees. Donald Trump hates nature. I mean, look at what it's done to him.
Oh, shut up!
We'd rather put the fires out. But the far right wingers, for some reason known only to themselves, don't care about the environment or pollution. I mean, you don't have to even believe in a thing called global warming, to care about the environment. I mean, do you like air? Do you enjoy water? So whose side are we on there? Because we can't be on Donald Trump's side and our side, as it exists at the moment. You know, caring about stuff that's not money. I mean, Britain is keen to make the most of opportunities presented by China. I mean, their growth is going through the roof. Wouldn't it be nice to hitch our wagon and avail ourselves of some of that cash? But Donald Trump says no, because he's having a beef with China at the moment. He wants Britain to turn its back on the Chinese tech company Huawei. We want them to build our 5G network. And Trump's all about American protectionism, which is unfortunate, because everything we might want to sell to America, they make themselves. And Trump's not a fan of the NHS. He thinks it's got an unfair advantage in the global medicine market. And Boris Johnson's laying down the red line. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's going to make a big difference. A red line. You think he won't lumber straight over that? I mean, Boris Johnson's current girlfriend is an environmentalist. And her first public speech since moving into Downing Street was a treatise against trophy hunting, which, coincidentally, is the favourite pastime of Donald Trump's sons. You know, killing stuff. Makes them feel manly. And the US president likes nothing more than Vladimir Putin, who we are somewhat upset about, for very good reasons. And Donald Trump wants Russia admitted back to the top table. Make the G7 the G8 again. Wouldn't that be marvellous? But we're not so keen because, all the dead bodies and the poison, apart from anything else. On every single policy going, we are more European than we are Trumpian. Isn't that true? And yet we're sailing away from Europe and into the arms of the Tangerine Scream. That's where we're running. Which seems like a massive act of self-harm. Doesn't it? I mean, I would say stupidity, but, some people don't like to be called stupid.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Here's what Trump said in July. We have a really good man who's going to be the Prime Minister of the UK now, Boris Johnson. Good man, he's tough and he's smart. They're saying Britain Trump. They call him Britain Trump. Which sounds like an instruction, doesn't it? Come on, Britain Trump. They call him Britain Trump. Who's they? You mean you do, Donny? They call him Britain Trump. People are saying that's a good thing. They like me over there. That's what they wanted. That's what they need. He'll get it done. Boris is good. He's going to do a good job. And then after wondering aloud where Nigel Farage was, he said, I'll tell you what, he, Nigel, got 32% of the vote from nowhere over in UK. Thank you, Nigel. I know he's going to work well with Boris. They're going to do some tremendous things. Well, shall we take it point by point? Right from the top. First off, he's going to do a good job. Well, when Trump said that, that was before he'd even been Prime Minister. He hadn't even got his knees under the table yet. Second, people over here don't love you, Donny. They hate you. Your approval rating in the UK is 21%. 21% of the public think positively about you. And what is it that delineates those people?
I love the poorly educated.
Meanwhile, his predecessor, Obama, Donald Trump's on 21% approval rating in this country. Barack Obama, 72. Wow, that's got to hurt, don't it, Donny? 72%. That's exactly as high as the Queen. We think as positively about Barack Obama as we do Her Majesty herself. And third, Trump got to tell us who should be our ambassador to the US, which is embarrassing enough. And as with bullies and demagogues, you give them an inch, they want a mile. Because he now thinks that he gets to tell us who the Prime Minister should be working with.
I'm a nutcase.
I say no. What do you say? Oh, that's my red line. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, well, you might want to consider dropping Donny's feed because it's just it's filling up my computer with his demented ramblings. Somebody should give him a show. 0345 6060 973. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
I think he's betraying a quite stupefying ignorance.
Owen texts, Nick, did you hear about China's offer to buy Hawaii from America and rename it Hawaii? Hawaii. Huawei. I got it right first time, now I'm screwing it up. Owen says, did you hear about China's offer to buy Hawaii from America and rename it Hawaii? Normally I don't like listeners with material, but in that case I will make an exception. And Joe says, obviously you're absolutely right, Nick. APSALUTELY. Close. You're absolutely right, Nick. When you actually think about it, it's very disturbing what's going on, where we are heading. It's a disaster. We are making the wrong decisions. It's so glaringly obvious. Would you like to buy some punctuation, Joe? Here's a call in Hampton. Hello, Matthew. Here's a call in Hampton. Hello, Matthew. Is there anybody out there? Too late. Blackburn. Scott. No, it's all going very well so far. One moment, please. There it is.
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
Yes, Scott.
That list of positive things that you read off, I agree with them a lot of times. I think it's tragic that we're possibly going to lose them. But my question to you is...
Lose what?
That list of things that you listed, the things we agree with Europe on, that we might lose,
yes,
because of the... But my question to you is losing those worth defending the immigration policies of the last 20 years or so? I mean, would you be willing to... you call people like us, my side, far right, that agree with Trump, but we don't agree on all this stuff. I like a lot of the stuff that you listed, but one of my main reasons for voting Brexit is because I'm sick of not being heard on the immigration status.
Right. So
certain towns and cities.
So what do you think? What do you think is going to happen after we leave the EU?
Exactly. No, I'm saying I'm realistic. I don't think very much.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'm saying, but my point is, it was sort of a finger in the eye to like, this is what you get for completely ignoring certain parts of the country. Towns and cities have been completely left to bear the full brunt of immigration from third world countries, while certain towns and cities have been completely untouched and preserved. Their British character has been preserved.
Well, name a place.
What you mean? Birmingham, Bradford, Blackburn.
No. The places that have been preserved.
Oh, well, I don't mean 100%, but they've been more so. Their character has been more protected. Because
not
certain
protected.
people got money.
Yeah, not protected. What you mean is that people that have come here don't want to move there because there's no jobs.
I don't think it's just a case of that. I think certain parts of the country have got people, like where the resourcing takes place and stuff like that, where you see all the muckety-mucks, they've got influence and they can protect because it's all flower places, where the sorts of places where the Queen visits, where they have the flower shows and the horse racing.
Right, the Queen.
Well, no, I'm giving an example.
Yeah, I get it, but there's no jobs for immigrants to do there. Why would they go there? Well, Ascot, places like that? They couldn't afford to live there for a start.
See, we don't we agree on more than we disagree. I think places like I mentioned have been the industry has been gutted, and to make up for the finances, they've flooded it with
but the one thing
poor
that
people.
I don't think that industries have been gutted by an influx of immigrants.
I didn't say they had. I
thought that's exactly what you just said.
No, I said politicians have made decisions that have gutted industry from certain parts, and to make up the loss in revenue, they've flooded them with poor people from the third world who
Well, that
rent
makes it.
places and-
They flooded them, as though we
Yes,
went.
they have.
As though we went to the third world and invited them to come. So, Scott, more people come from outside of the EU than from inside of the EU. If you're looking for fewer people to come to this country from abroad, then I'm afraid you've picked the wrong cause.
It's a question of families and how many children they have. I agree with what you
Well,
just said.
unfortunately, Scott, we need people to have more children in this country because our own the indigents aren't doing so, and we have an aging population who will become increasingly uneconomically active, and also will need care. So, who's going to do all that if we aren't having the babies?
That's because we don't celebrate the nuclear family anymore, and welfare is gutted. It's demonised the family, and
We don't
incentivise single
celebrate
mothers.
the nuclear family anymore. In which
We don't.
parallel universe are you talking about? It's all about families.
No, it's not. It's we incentivise single mothers with welfare, and we
Oh,
don't.
for crying out loud, Scott, you can't possibly think that people, that a woman makes a decision in life to have a baby without a man around to help her take care of it, just because she'll get an extra $5 on her welfare.
I didn't say they do it to get the welfare. I said the system rewards that behaviour.
Well, yes, but if it rewards it, then you're saying that people are making a conscious decision in order to avail themselves of that extra money.
I'm saying they've gone too far in the other direction, because to make a woman less dependent on a man, they've gone way further in the opposite direction. So you don't need them at all anymore. So I do think
you do need them for something.
yeah. But I worry about the stuff we're going to lose. I like a lot of the stuff that you read off, and I don't want to become more Americanized. But you're just not listening with the immigration thing. Your side. I'm saying, are you willing to lose all that stuff?
No, I don't want to lose all that stuff.
No,
Because that's what makes us British. That's what makes us British, Scott. Not just agreeing with everything that the demented orange nightmare in the White House says.
You're obsessed with Trump. It's more than him. It's the system. He's just an individual.
Oh,
he's not as powerful as you think he is.
But the most powerful man in the world isn't as powerful as I think he is.
It is the president.
The man who could start World War III just because he got up in the morning in a huff, and who is currently engaged in trade wars with almost as many countries as there are continents.
The world isn't run by the American president and the British Prime Minister anymore. It's run by corporations and banks. They're the ones with the real power.
Yeah, men who live in, who meet in hollowed out volcanoes. Yeah, I read about that. I'm pretty sure that I read about that on the internet.
What do I know about it? All I know is what's on the internet.
Oh, there's just constant whining and there's this grievance that people have. My life didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to, and you know what? It's their fault. There's some identifiable minority over there. Or it's single mothers' fault, or it's people who are on benefits, it's their fault over there, or it's the people who are in the big cities, it's Londoners' fault. God, get a grip, man. Stop whining. Scott texts, Britain Trump. I got one for Don. America, idiots. Well, that's just rude, Scott. But, not far off the mark. And after that last guy, he seemed, I don't know, did he seem like a nice person? I can't really tell anymore. But I don't know where to begin. So maybe I just won't try at all. Maybe I just can't be bothered anymore. It just seemed to be just one long whine. Why can't life be like I wanted it to be? Why can't it be like it is in the black and white films about how it used to be in this country? Why aren't we living in a Bolting Brothers black and white film? It's so unfair. God, life is not like that anymore. It's not like that anywhere anymore. It's a great big melting pot, big enough to take the world and all it's got. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbot, LBC.
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Hang about, Nick. Listen. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right?
That guy called once, and he's going to be in my next podcast. And he is a major star. That call was so good. He rang up to correct me about, everything, I think. And that was a couple of weeks ago. And I finally got around to sticking him in the podcast. It'll be out on Monday at noon. The ones that are up there at the minute, though, I think you will find a delight. They're 30 minutes of amusement. The best of this show, my favourite calls from this programme. It's called the Nick Abbot Habit, and you can find it by downloading Global Player from your favourite app store. And you'll discover my podcast by hitting the podcast button and then do a search on my name. It's the easiest way to find it, Nick Abbott, the Nick Abbott Habit. And if you don't do that kind of stuff by a phone, then point your pewter at it and ask for it by name, the Nick Abbott Habit. And the one that's most recent up there has a way to solve climate change in a very alarming way. The Nick Abbott Habit. Jimmy says, I always wonder why we are so obsessed with trying to find intelligent life on other planets when we can't even find intelligent life on our planet. Yeah, that's a good point, Jimmy.
I love the poorly educated.
Let's have a call in who's been waiting the longest. Tamworth. Andy.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I am super. Thanks for asking.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I wouldn't get too worried about this Brexit thing.
Oh, right. Well, I'm glad you called.
Actually, I figured out we're living in an actual computer simulation.
Well, wouldn't that be great?
It doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, I think that I took the blue pill instead of the red one. And yeah, big mistake, huge.
Simulation. Yeah, I reckon we're going to go for a hard Brexit.
Well, that looks to be the way things are going. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know the lad that was a bit upset? He was getting a bit worried about Brexit, and he was saying, we were going to this malarkey.
Yeah.
There were too many. Well, basically, if we destroy our economy and agriculture,
yeah,
they won't want to come here, will they?
No.
They'll be hopping in rubber dinghies, rowing the other way.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good point.
So essentially, we'll end up pretty much like an episode of The Railway Children. We'll go back to like a 1950s version of perfection.
Yeah. Okay, I'll see you down the tracks. You'll know me because I'll be waving some red knickers in the air. All right, thanks a lot, Andy. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, that's true. If we wreck the economy and we ain't got no jobs no more, then people won't want to come here because they're not coming here for to avail themselves of our excellent benefits. That's definitely not true. I mean, I know that people have an idea in their mind that that's precisely what people are doing. The whole world over, they're thinking, oh, benefits in Britain. Oh, you wouldn't believe it. There's gold on the streets. Hey, I found a £5 on the street the other day. I was on the phone talking to my mum, and I was in an alleyway off a street, and some bloke walked by and he kicked a piece of paper, and I thought, it was a very neat piece of paper. It didn't look like rubbish. Out of the corner of my eye, and I thought, oh, what's that? And I thought, and it disappeared from view because I was standing in the alley and I could only see a bit of the street. And somebody went the other way and kicked it back into view. And I thought, that's a blue piece of paper. It was a £5 note. You don't see that much. So I used it to tip the bloke that cut my hair. You know, the one that asked me if I was 65. What? Excuse me, mister, are you 65? Because you get a discount. See what a nice person I am? Even then, under that circumstance, I still gave him a £5 note, but albeit one that I found on the street. 0345 6060 973. Here is Carnforth. Hey, Penny.
Hey up, Nick. How you doing?
I'm great, mate.
Good. Happy birthday for the other day.
Oh, thanks.
I just had to ring because, that previous caller before the news going on about immigrants being flooded with immigrants in deindustrialised
They're swarming
areas.
over here, yeah.
Honestly, Nick, it drives me mad when people start going on about all this. I mean, if there weren't the jobs, the immigrants wouldn't be here, and they're not in areas where there aren't jobs. I mean, like up where I live, there aren't many immigrants at all because there isn't much work.
Yeah.
But the place where I do always see them is in the hospital, and not in the waiting room, because, you know, people are always saying, oh, the waiting list to see your doctor is so long in the hospitals because, you know, it's immigrants that have done it, and it's immigrants that have taken all their houses and blah, blah, blah. But when I'm in the hospital, the immigrants are the doctors and nurses, and everybody in the waiting room are all local people with Lancashire and Cumbrian accents.
Yeah, the customers are the locals, and the people that are attending to them are from elsewhere.
Yeah,
because the locals don't want to do those jobs.
No, well, I think as far as doctors and nurses are concerned, it's for years and years we've never been training enough for a start.
Yeah.
And particularly under this last government, the last 9 years, they've not been training enough. And also, they've made the terms and conditions of work so bad now that loads of doctors and nurses are leaving and either going out of the NHS or going out of the country. Quite a lot of them are going to Canada and Australia, and where they just get...
Yeah, because we go over there.
Yes, we do, and take their jobs.
Yes.
So I think there's quite a lot of that going on, and really it's probably going to get worse, because I don't know what's going to happen when a lot of EU nurses and doctors don't find it easy to come.
Well, I think that we're in a period of resetting, and for people who don't like being surrounded by foreigners, it may get worse momentarily, but it's about to get much, much better, by which I mean worse, because the robots are about to take over.
Affirmative.
Robots are about to take all of the jobs that immigrants come here to do because we don't want to do them. Picking tubers out the ground, plucking fruit off the tree, caring for the elderly, driving, serving coffee, you know, all of that stuff that people don't want to do is about to be done by a robot.
Correct.
You know, working in a warehouse, plucking stuff off a shelf and wrapping it in a box. All that stuff is going to be done by a robot shortly, so there won't be any jobs, so the people won't be coming here anymore. Problem solved.
Yeah, and actually that's one thing I'm definitely going to refuse, to have a robot carer. That would just put my foot down.
Right.
You know, this always amazes me that people always talk about all this stuff. Heard somebody, I can't remember, it was on LBC, I can't remember which show it was on, but they had this really enthusiastic bloke on about how wonderful everything was going to be in the future and technology would solve everything. And I was thinking, and he was talking about progress. They always use the word progress, and I was thinking, no, it's not necessarily progress.
No, that's right. Change
change
isn't necessarily progress. It can be quite often, but not necessarily.
But not necessarily at all. There's plenty of things that I can think of that science have come up with that I think the world would have been better without, like splitting the atom for a start. You know, there's things that I just think, and GM crops. Do we really need them? Do we really want them? I mean... Well,
we're going to have to eat them, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, Donald Trump will make sure that we're eating them.
Insist on it, yes.
Yes, definitely. So that's very worrying. So, yes, you could be right about it.
But when you say you don't want a robot taking care of you, I mean, have you got one of them smart speakers?
No.
You ain't got
we're very 1980s here, Nick.
Right.
We haven't got anything.
You've only got stupid speakers.
Yeah.
And no matter how many times you speak to them, they just sit there and do nothing.
Nothing, that's right.
Rubbish they are.
No.
Well, you want to get yourself one of them robot speakers, because they're excellent. You can say, Alexa, put global thermonuclear war on my to-do list. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I really don't like any of that stuff. I mean, we still haven't got a computer in the house. We're toying with the idea now, because now that we're both housebound now, so my partner can't go to the library, so we're saying, right, well, I suppose we'll have to have one because everything's online. And I haven't got a mobile phone, neither of us.
What?
Well, I haven't got a mobile phone.
Oh, my God, you're barely connected to the real world, Annie.
Yeah, but you can hear me on this phone, can't you?
Well, I suppose that's absolutely right, yes. Thank goodness for the landlines. I can hear every word you're saying. You actually sound like a human being and not like a Dalek.
Yeah, the only thing that I would quite like a mobile phone for is to be able to take lots of pictures of my cats, mainly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Doing cute things. Well, of course, half of the internet is cats doing cute things.
Yes. Yeah, so I've heard, yeah.
I tried to, because you know, the news that's coming out was so depressing and samey today. I thought I'll upload a pussycat GIF, and I just couldn't do it. I tried and I tried and I tried. So I apologised, the internet. You were going to be amused by some pussycats, And oh god, they were so cute. They were yawning and cuddling up to each other like, oh, it was just so lovely. But unfortunately, I couldn't do it. So the world is a sadder place.
Oh dear. Is this your cats you're talking about?
No. They were just. It was part of some news thing that came around, and they improved the news by adding pussycats. In fact, wouldn't that be great? Every news bulletin on television should have just pussycats walking across the desk and doing cute things. Wouldn't that be nice?
But didn't they used to do that? I mean, I haven't watched telly for years, but they used to do that. Not with pussycats, but at the end of the news, they used to have this cheerful little thing like
the Anne Finley story. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
A big fat cat, or just something stupid and light.
Right, a dog on a skateboard.
Yeah, something like that.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, get used to it, Annie, because your next carer may be a robot, Nick.
Oh, I refuse. Absolutely refuse.
It won't feel pain, and it won't feel pity, and it absolutely will not stop ever.
Correct.
I like somebody to chat to. You know, I get on really well with my carers. I've got some really good carers, and I like them to chat to.
Well, Friday and Saturday night between 10 and 1, you can chat to me.
I do sometimes.
All right. Okay, thanks a lot, Annie. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
This is absolute tosh.
D texts, hello, Nick dear. I don't like that for a start. He says, I must say, you don't sound your usual chirpy self. In fact, you sound sad. Are you all right? Are you kidding me? I feel super fantastic. This says, you hate Trump, not the people in this country. Get it right. I've got no idea what that means. I don't know what that means. but if this writes in, I have no idea what's going on my own show. Can you believe that? Drusy says, did Trump remove the apostrophe and the S to Britain's Trump because he thinks there's more than one Britain? I like the original one. Enfield, hello, John.
Oh, good evening, Nick.
John.
Well, what I'd like to say, I'm not going to go off at a tangent if I can avoid it.
Right.
But what I would like to say is that I think robots should become the government should ensure that they become our slaves.
Right.
And the money that they accrue from actually doing that is actually ploughed back to regenerate our whole industry and commerce.
Well, now,
instead of directing it through, the inversion through the banks and so on, who actually buy shares and and buy their own shares, and are not increasing the value of the company and give money to their directors.
Well,
who are actually ensure that they corrupt their employees by filling their mouths with money.
Right, there was a gap in there, and I should have taken full advantage and launched into my spiel. But then you just cut right over me again.
Are you following me?
No,
at the moment? You're not. Well,
listen to me.
I've said what I want to say, and so on, but I think we could in fact reverse what is happening at the moment, where there's no actual solution by considering a robot as an investment in a mechanical system that can be used to replace the slaves that we have in industry and that we've had in the past.
Right. Well, there is a notion that what we should do when jobs are lost to robots is to give out a what do they call that? It's a minimum yearly stipend, or
that's a good idea. That could be part of it.
Not remotely interested in anything I'm saying. Yeah, they call it a minimum yearly.
I understand. You needn't stretch it any further. I know what you mean.
But people are very against that because it would appear to be giving or to be rewarding people for inactivity.
No, the thing is, they want in Westminster, they want to keep their bums on seats and so on.
Yeah.
And they want the money and so on. It's it's absolutely short term. It's on a day-to-day basis.
What is?
You've got to think. You think into the future.
Oh, the future. No, don't talk to me about the future, John. I've been there.
Okay. Right. So I hope we've talked a little bit of sense together this evening.
Well,
and I'll try not to insult you if I possibly can hold my my rage back.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're doing an excellent job so far. Let me know if anything changes. All right.
Okay. Right.
All right. Thanks a lot, John. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, that whole robot thing is very, very alarming.
Affirmative.
But when they do take over, and by some estimates, it's between 20 and 50% of all jobs, including a lot of people who think that they're safe because they do white collar jobs. But if you do interact with a computer, then it is quite likely that your computer is going to take your job.
Correct.
It is going to terminate you.
Affirmative.
And then people will be lying around with nothing to do. Now, they do also say, experts, these are the opinions of experts, so nobody is remotely interested in anything that they have to say. But what they are saying is that other jobs will come along with this robot revolution. But unfortunately, the people who lose their jobs, shelf stackers, the people in the supermarket who go boop, 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 all of those people who are going to lose their jobs probably first, people who are, they drive for a living and all that kind of thing. I mean, if they're 50 years old, then they're not going to relearn a trade, are they? They're not going to be re-educated to make video games or whatever it is that the new jobs are going to be, because it'll be beyond their ability. I couldn't, and nobody could. If you've spent your life doing, plucking packets off shelves in supermarkets, you're not going to be able to retrain as a computer programmer. Of course not. So there's going to be a massive amount of people that won't be able to do jobs at all, because all of the jobs that they are fit for will be done by robots. So people are going to have to get some money for something, otherwise half the population is going to starve to death. But there will be a great resistance to that, because it will look as though we are just gifting people money for doing nothing, for just lying about the place. Watching Philip Blooming Schofield on TV all day. But something's going to have to change in that regard. I mean, we're going to have to give the money to people because otherwise the economy is just going to grind to a halt. Who's going to be buying stuff anymore? All the stuff that the robots make. If we don't buy their stuff, then they probably will kill us. That is absolutely certain. I've seen that film. Joe tweets, I'm your biggest fan. Huge. But you should have listened to your last caller, Scott, I think he was my first caller, about corporations and banks having more power than the Donald. Corporations and banks have more power than the Donald. Well, okay, but why do they give money to him in order to curry favour and not the other way round? If they're the ones with all the power. Why do they give him tens of millions of dollars in order to curry favour with him rather than he currying favour with them, if they're the ones that have all the power? I mean, corporations and banks can't start wars. Corporations and banks can't separate children from their families and stick them in a cage. Corporations and banks can't build a big, beautiful wall. Well, mind you, neither can Donald Trump, so you've got me there. I mean, I know conspiracy theories are attractive because they plug the gaps in our knowledge with something that is borderline believable. And the further down the rabbit hole you go, the more and more complicated and complex these conspiracy theories get. I mean, if you want to spend the rest of your life looking at, Hillary Clinton is, oh God, the stuff that she's responsible for, you wouldn't believe. Can you believe that Hillary Clinton is actually sucking the oxygen out of the atmosphere? Personally, it's true. I read it on the internet. But the corporations and banks have a certain amount of power, but that's only what comes with having money. If you've got money, then you have power relating to how much money you've got. You've got a lot of money. You've got a lot of power. It's got nothing to do with being a corporation or a bank. It's just how much money have you got? And they do not actually have more power than the Donald. He tells them what to. He's actually given a decree, as though it's come down from God. What was the phrase he used? I decree, or some such demented phrase, that our great corporations should find another partner to do business with other than China. Can he actually do that?
No.
Did he do it?
Yes.
Yeah, they're crawling across the carpet to him, not the other way around. Not now, anyway. Wait till he gets fired and wants a loan again. Then the tide will change. But that's. But then somebody will be a president, and they will have more power. It's just conspiracy theory stuff for people. Stop reading the internet. Let's have... Who's been waiting the longest? Whopping. Hello, Paula.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great, mate.
Oh, good. I thought people have been getting at you a little bit.
Have they?
Well, they were a bit yesterday. I thought they're pooping for you today a little bit. I just wanted to say, and I nearly rang you yesterday about it, Nokia phones.
Yeah.
I haven't got a mobile either, and I thought it might annoy you because you think people who haven't got mobile phones. Well, how do they manage? And actually, you do, because you get an answering machine. So people can always leave a message.
But what if you need to make a really vital and important phone call when you're out?
That is it. And
what if you want to take a picture of your dinner?
That's
and put it on the internet.
That lady who rang. That's what I'd like one for. Not of my cats, because I haven't got any cats, but I did have cats.
Yeah.
No, I'd want to phone for, say, a crime scene or something like that, or to say to somebody there's an emergency. I see the point.
Yeah.
So, taking advice. A couple of years ago, I went to a local shop here and I said I want an easy mobile phone to use.
Mm-hmm.
I got a Nokia that was sold to me, 25 quid. Got home, opened the instruction booklet. I remember I've not used one before, so I needed the instruction booklet.
Yeah.
Well, the instructions were in Austrian, Spanish, Italian, and of course Norwegian. But they weren't in English.
No.
So I took the phone to cash converters and I got £3.50 for it. And I thought,
wow.
I thought 25 quid should get me a basic usable phone, but no instructions, because it was obviously an old Nokia and they were just getting rid of it.
Well, it's much worse than that, Paula, because if you buy a computer today, then there are no instructions that come with it, except for on the internet. You have to use your computer to get the instructions to tell you how to use your computer.
Well, just to reassure you that I'm not a total Luddite, I've got a laptop and I've got a tower fixed computer and I've even got a fax machine. But nobody seems to
what now?
I can't believe
a fax machine? Oh, step into the new world, Grandma.
But apparently they're used a lot in China.
China. Okay, well then you'll be able to. If only you knew how to speak Chinese, you'd be able to send them a little message.
But apparently, I think Japan as well. They use them a lot for business confirmation deals.
Yeah,
they like to have it confirmed.
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but
you could send them a smiley face. Send them a smiley face, Paula.
Oh, one of those. I hate those things.
Yeah, but they might like it.
I hate them. They're so childish.
Well, I know they are, but if you can't, if you don't know their language, you're going to have to communicate by cartoon.
What we got here is a failure to communicate.
Just try it. You never know, you might like it. Thanks a lot, Paula. 0345 6060 973. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello, boys. Hello, number please. Trying to connect you. Sorry to keep you waiting.
And Boris Johnson said, no, you're Mr. No Deal. And Donald Tusk said, no, you're Mr. No Deal. And Boris Johnson said, yeah, I know I am, but what are you? Ugh, or the other way around. I know you are, but what am I? Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It's all going very well. Paul texts, Trump will hate Johnson's guts eventually, or next week anyway. Well, he changes his mind like the direction of the wind, so anything is possible. I'm amazed that he gets along with, that Donald Trump gets along with Boris Johnson at all. I mean, considering the things that he said.
I think Donald Trump is clearly out of his mind.
I mean, he doesn't forgive those kind of things. He just goes on and on and on about it. The Danish Prime Minister, she's very nasty. That was yesterday. Today, the Danish Prime Minister, she called me, she's a fantastic woman. She said I was great. I have really big hands. What is he like? Well, we know what he's like. There's absolutely no doubt what he's like. Exactly. Tony texts, if the EU is so great, why is the world literally burning around us? Abbot, you ain't got a clue, says Tony. So the EU is responsible for setting the Amazon on fire, is it? Blimey, some people, eh? It's a certain demographic, I think you'll find.
I love the poorly educated.
James says, if he gets to buy Greenland, he won't stop there. He'll be off to Scotland next, and he'll build a wall around Glasgow to keep the weather in. Hey, you know what? I managed to recharge my phone last night. It is an actual miracle, by which I mean God intervened, personally. That's my religious belief, and it's just as good as yours. Because previous to last night, I couldn't get it above 20%, but I just left it on all night long last night. And I know that's not saving the planet, but it did get up to 100%. I am stunned. So I will check the weather for Glasgow while you wait. Well, I'll do the weather for London first. Oh, wow! 87 degrees tomorrow. I am stunned. That is beyond fantastic. 87 degrees tomorrow. 85 on Monday. 83 on Tuesday, 80 on Wednesday, and then it drops off a cliff. Thursday is 71. So it's up until Wednesday, the hot heat. But then, not bad really, all right, until the end of the first week in September. 69, 70 degrees, there or thereabouts. You know what you'd expect for this time of year. Normal weather. 87 tomorrow. That is fantastic. That's in London. And sunny, by the way. Sunny, sunny, sunny all the way through, continuously for the next 2 weeks. In Glasgow, on the other hand, Glaswegians will get their own weather.
Affirmative.
But, and it's a huge, giant, wobbling but, 81 degrees tomorrow in Glasgow. Can you believe that? 81 and sunny. Not a cloud in the sky. Glaswegians, do not look directly at the sun. And then, oh, wow, that's terrible. 81 tomorrow, 69 on Monday. 69 on Monday and cloudy, and then it just gets colder than that. 63, 64, 63. Cloudy on Monday, cloudy on Tuesday, raining on Wednesday, cloudy on Thursday, raining on Friday, and raining on Saturday, and raining on Sunday, and cloudy on Monday, and raining on Tuesday, and raining on Wednesday, and cloudy on Thursday, and cloudy on Friday, and that's right up to the 6th of September. Oh well. Never mind. One day ain't bad. Ron texts, when you were a lad and travelling in America in 1979, did you in your wildest dreams think that 40 years later you'd be on radio talking about the American president that provides hours and hours of amusement for your audience? No, not a clue. I only got well, I've always wanted to be on the radio, but I wanted to be a DJ. Hey!
Rock and roll!
Until I heard a bloke in America called Neil Rogers, who I maintain is the greatest talent that radio has ever witnessed. You've never heard anybody better than Neil Rogers. Well, I know I haven't. But I was on Radio Luxembourg, and somebody sent me a cassette of this bloke who was just off the, it was so off the wall, and just demonstrated what you could do with a talk show, and I'd never heard anything like it. And I just became completely addicted, and I was paying people to send me cassettes of this bloke, because it was the only way you could hear his show, wherever you were, unless you were in Miami. And it changed my, it completely changed my life. Neil's dead at the moment, still dead, I think you'll find. But he's still the best. So that is one good thing that came out of America for me, personally. is Neil Rogers specifically, his way of doing a talk show, which I've ripped off completely. Cheers, Neil.
Thank you.
Chelsea. Hello, Peter. See, this never happened to Neil Rogers. Chelsea. Well, it actually did all the time. Chelsea. Peter. Okay. Alicante. Tom.
Hi, Nick.
Tom.
Nice to speak to you, mate.
You sound very laid back, Tom.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to, mate. I'd like to think I am. I don't have a very stressful life. Anyway,
yeah.
I rang up. I'm all overdue with my old boy, my granddad, and he's a big fan of your show. He listens to it. He always puts his wireless on at night. Anyway, he put me on to you, and I've looked at your highlights on YouTube, and some of them I do think you are quite a funny fella. But that's exactly. But the past few ones I've listened to you on, I think you are quite rude.
Rude? Me?
Rude, aye.
To
I
whom?
don't really agree with it either, because all the older boys going about, younger generation, I could not imagine myself speaking to someone the way you speak to them. I find it awful.
Right.
Genuinely.
Like who? Who are you talking about?
What was the fella's name?
Oh, just people that call in? Or are you talking about politicians?
No. People who call in. He came on earlier with a valid point about robots in industry. My granddad, he worked in steelworks and all that for an engineer. Quite a big.
Well, I wasn't rude to the guy who talked about robots in industry.
It's the way he says.
Most definitely was not. He calls all the time. We get along just fine, Tom. Relax. Everything's going swimmingly. Don't worry about it.
I don't agree with you. He was saying robots, but he's got an accent saying Roberts. And you're going, what? Roberts. Oh,
yeah, well, I don't know what show you were listening to, because that's not what happened. I may have taken the mic, because I've never heard anybody say robots before, or however it was he pronounced it. Huh?
How's that work? You said speak to him all the time, he rings up all the time, so how's that work?
I said what?
You said, a minute ago, when I mentioned it, you said, he rings up all the time, and you speak to him all the time, and he was having a laugh. Well, you obviously don't, otherwise you'd have said it before, wouldn't you? And you're saying you've never heard someone say that.
Well, I've never had a conversation about robots with him before, but he does call all the time, Tom. Listen, mate, I know more about this show than you do. I know who calls more than you do. I mean, why don't you tell me about my life, like you know more about it than I do? God, so annoying. Whining all the way from Spain. Hey, Tom.
Stop whining.
Lara texts, Nick, if the Amazon forest burns down, we'll lose the lungs of our planet. Then we won't be whining because we won't be able to breathe. That'll force us to see what's important. Forget Brexit, Trump and Johnson et al. Yeah, well, we can't, because those are the people that we have tasked to save us. I mean, I know that we, in order to get ahead and make a lot of money, were as ruinous to the environment as we possibly could be. We couldn't have cared less about the environment during the Industrial Revolution. Pumping pollution out we were. But now that we're rich, we'd prefer that the third world didn't, drag themselves up into the first world by doing the same thing that we did. Please don't make the same mistakes that we did. We'd prefer you just stayed poor. Now, I know that's pretty hypocritical, but for the benefit of the planet and all of us who live on it, we're going to have to elect a series of leaders. We're going to have to work together in order to protect the planet that we sit on. It's our home. And I know it's easier to just pollute. I mean, forget about global warming, because people get hooked up, get stuck on that. They think, oh, well, global warming doesn't exist. It's, Donald Trump thinks it's. I don't know whether he thinks it is or he just says so because the demented yeehaws. Well, that guy from Alicante is going to be very upset. The demented, drooling yeehaws that show up at his safe space rallies.
I love the poorly educated.
Yeah, those people. They, I don't know. They just hate the environment or any notion of protecting the environment because they know it will upset the liberals. And that seems to be the way they rule their lives. Whatever the liberals don't like, then we do like. Let's pollute more, because that will really upset the liberals. It's just such a ridiculous way of thinking. But it's like I'm in my flat and I can do what I want, including setting fire to it. Well, no, you can't if you're in a block of flats where other people are going to be affected. You can walk around in the naughty naked nude, all of a wobble.
Disgusting.
That's fine, just as long as it's not affecting anybody else. Peter says, I know scientists around the world say we have climate change, but they're just mere experts. But the Donald, i.e. the chosen one, is saying that climate change doesn't exist. So I suppose we have to accept the world of the orange god Trump. We must always remember that he does know big words and is like a smart person. God help us all. Yeah, well, he does know words.
I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words.
This is LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
What in blazes goes on inside that head of yours?
Well, I'm dreaming about bombing Alicante at the moment. How about you? David says, coincidentally, I lost a £5 note in London last week. It had an image of the Queen on one side, so if that ties up with the one that you found, could you post it to me, please? Absolutely, I will do that straight away. Watch for it at your door. I've got no idea where you live, but I'll just pop it in a postbox. Sally says, some of the top scientists at MIT think we are living in a computer simulation, so it doesn't matter if we have a hard Brexit or even a nuclear war. It's all just a computer game.
Affirmative.
Wouldn't that be great? If we could just restart. Maybe this show hasn't actually begun yet in this computer game. Oh, it'll be marvellous when this show starts. I wonder what time it's on. And Ulysses tweets, it's pronounced GIF with a hard G, not GIF. Wrong, Ulysses. God, that just really... I love that when people call in or text and say, you know, you got that completely wrong. It's not what you said it was, it's this. God, you'd think that you would just pause for a moment and check your sense of superiority and investigate the facts before you make an ass of yourself. You're completely wrong, Ulysses. It is not pronounced GIF, it's pronounced GIF. It was all over the news, man. It was just a few months ago, if not a year or more ago. The person who invented it showed up on the news and said, you know what, people have been mispronouncing my invention all along. It's not GIF, it's GIF, Ulysses. You idiot. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. There you are, you see? Not rude at all.
Be polite!
And Pauline says, what's going on in Cardiff? It's like New Year's Eve. Loads of fireworks and boom, boom music.
Rock and roll!
Boom, boom. Does it sound like this? Boom, boom music. Huh. Well, I've got no idea what's going on in Cardiff. How about you, Kanye?
Whoop-dee-dee scoop poop.
0345 6060 973. Let's have Westminster. Hello, Adam.
Good evening, Nick.
Adam.
What might surprise you and all your listeners, Nick, is that China, the only thing that China makes is people's lives a misery. They copy everything. They've got no original ideas of their own. They sponge off the back of every great inventor and company around the globe. They punt all of this stuff out from their factories in Shenzhen, just outside Hong Kong. And quite frankly, the sooner that the man Donald Trump closes down these businesses, the whole world can rejoice and actually get a genuine Louis Vuitton bag.
Right. Are you fresh out of material? Yeah, he was. He just dropped the phone and left. Oh, God, that was my favourite part, when he left. If you can reach out and touch something that wasn't made in China, then I'll give you the $5 that I found in the street. What's really bizarre is that pretty much every single thing that Donald Trump sells is made in China. People were posting that on the internet the other day, just when he went and did his demented diatribe about all American corporations must stop doing business with China. And people said, oh yeah, well, what about all this lot? and they took photographs of the labels of every piece of tat that he sells. You know, his T-shirts and his ties and his suits and his all that stuff that he sells. And it's all made in China, by which I mean China. He's so hypocritical. It's just staggering. And his fans, if you tell them, they it just pings off them like water off a duck's back. It just does not seep in. They just don't. It is like they've joined a cult. It's a religion. When he is the chosen one, and we know that because he told us himself. I am the chosen one, he said. Looking at the heavens as he did it. And then after the blowback from the evangelical Christians, he rode back a little bit. Said, "Oh, I was kidding. Yeah, sure you were. Didn't look like you were kidding when you said it." John says, let's have robots raising our kids for one thing. They do a damn sight better job than the suffocating examples of bad parenting I've seen ad nauseum out and about over the school holidays. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Parenting is going through a very, very bad period at the moment. Parents, only you think your child is the most wonderful thing in the whole wide world. Everybody else thinks that they're a whining ball of screaming snot. And I really mean that. Nobody likes to hear your kids scream. No one. Shut them up. And they scream and they scream and they scream. It's like dogs. How do they make so much noise over such a long period of time? How do they do that? I mean, adults with grown-up larynxes, they get a sore throat, they start screaming. Kids can do it all day and all night long. And their parents just sit there idly and just let them do it. As though every neighbour within a 2-mile radius actually wants to hear that. What is wrong with people? Actually, that should be the topic from now until the end of time. What's wrong with people? Call me now. Stockton-on-Tees. Brian.
Yes, good evening, Nick.
Oh,
good to talk to you.
God.
What are you waiting about, Nick?
Here we go.
I missed your birthday, Nick.
You missed my birthday? Well, you can send me a present anyway.
Oh, it's too late now. I mean, I'm good.
No, that's all right. I don't mind. Late's fine.
I sent you a card, you know.
No, you didn't.
I would have.
Oh, you would have? Yeah, right. Okay.
What are you waiting about?
Well, right back at you. I would have sent you a birthday present.
Cheers, Nick.
If I'd cared.
Right. What are you getting worried about with Boris Johnson? He's doing a great job.
In what respect is Boris Johnson doing a great job?
He's at the G7 now.
Yeah. Well,
and
you mean he showed up?
He's looking like a beacon, isn't he? All the cameras on the spotlight. He's sharp. He's yellow hair, you know.
Yeah. You could spot him in a crowd, no doubt.
He's like a beacon, you know.
Not in a crowd of tramps. You'd have to really peer for quite a while. But in a crowd of ambassadors, yeah, definitely.
He's very impressive, isn't he?
No. That's the wrong word. Think of another word, Brian. Impressive? No, that's not the right word.
Everybody made out he's a clown. He's not a clown.
Yeah. He is a clown. That's his act, Brian. He spent his entire life acting the clown, which is why it's a bit difficult now to take him seriously when he says things that are about very serious subjects.
Well, it's working very well with the major people of the world.
Name one person. Name one person it's working well with.
It's just Merkel. Have gone very well, much better than your mate, Theresa May. You seen Macron? I mean, they couldn't stop shaking hands.
Well, for the cameras, of course. That's what they do. They shake hands for the cameras, and then they can barely speak to each other in private.
He's doing a great job. He's in full control of everything. Don't worry with Trump.
We have full control. Yeah.
Don't worry your head about Trump. He knows how to handle Trump.
How does he know how to handle Trump? You're out your mind, Brian. Boris Johnson knows how to handle Trump.
He's very good at talking to people. We know that.
Yeah, but
And
when
it
you're in a
becomes
room with
all
Donald
of them.
Trump, as you will know if you've ever seen a video of Donald Trump, nobody else gets a word in edgeways. He just fills the room with verbiage and puts his hands in people's faces to stop them speaking. Well, he
Boris
just goes
Johnson-
on and on and on.
Boris Johnson at the G7, he's actually come out and said things against Trump. Trump hasn't come back with anything. You know.
Well, I don't
because
know.
he was-
Have you checked your
I'll tell
Twitter
you
feed
why.
lately?
I'll tell you why.
What has he
Alex,
said
shall I?
against? What has he said against Donald Trump? Name one thing that he
He
said
has-
against
he has-
Donald Trump.
He has said that we have to get the climate right and all that. Why Trump is there in front of him. He's also said, "I want free trade." He's pulled him up about China.
He's pulled him up about China.
Yes, at the G7.
What did he say? Pulled
He
him up.
said that this country, I believe in free trade deals, not tariffs, which he's done with China. He said it in front of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump has never said a word. I'll tell you why he's never said a word, shall I? Because he respects him still.
Get lost. Donald Trump has not said a word because whatever Boris Johnson says in public, in private, he is crawling across the carpet and acting like his poodle.
Well, all you were always saying is, well, in private and out in the open. We only know what's said out in the open from anybody in politics.
Well,
Now, come on.
no, that's not true. Because we can glean what is said in private by what happens subsequently. And you know what Donald Trump is like. I mean, he just cancelled a visit to Caring Sharing Denmark, for crying out loud.
We're
Because
not bothered about that, Nick. Nick, we're not
I'm
bothered
just
about-
describing what he's
What
like
we're
as a
bothered
person,
about-
and we should be bothered about it because that's what he is like.
What we're bothered about is our dealings with America.
Yeah. And so we're going to have to accept his chemical washed chickens and his hormonal beef and the GM crops, and we're going to have to open up the NHS to a more private enterprise, and it's just going to go on and on and on. We're going to have to toe the line on Iran and toe the line on
We'll see what
China
happens.
and on. Yeah.
We'll see what happens on that.
Because don't tell me, Brian,
thing is-
Brian, that America needs us more than we need them. Go ahead, tell me that.
We need each other.
No, they don't need us. They don't need us. Why do they need us?
No, come on, Nick, stop it, please.
How does America need us, Brian?
Look,
explain that to me.
We need America.
Yes,
Your world-
absolutely we do. We're desperate.
I agree with you.
And that's a pathetic position to be in. Desperate.
The world
Desperate
needs
and
America.
in need of friends.
The world needs America, not
Like
just us. The world.
Like the
I'll tell
new
you
kid
why.
in school.
I'll tell you why the world needs America. Because they have caused trouble in Vietnams and all these places over the years. But America stopped the Third World War.
America stopped the Third World War.
Russia.
How did they do that?
Russia would have took over the world without America.
Brian, that's one of the most in a show absolutely jam-packed with asinine suggestions. That is the most asinine so far. You can't possibly know that anybody stopped the Third World War because it didn't happen.
Look, I tell you what, right? After the Second World War, when the Second World War finished, he would have took the world over. It wasn't for America. What do they call him? The dictator.
Yeah.
What's his name? Little Sash. What do they call him? My name? Hey, my memory's going. Nick. What's his name?
You think I'm going to help you? Forget it.
They exhumed his body, didn't they, after he died?
Who was it?
I can't. It was Lenin. Not Lenin. Anyway, you know what I mean.
No.
Right? Now, Churchill said, didn't he, after the Second World War, he said, attack Russia now. He said, you're going to have to face them in the end.
Who did he say that to?
He said about Russia, he said to America, didn't he? He said, let's after we beat Germany, he said, let's go and get Russia.
Oh, well, if Churchill said that, maybe he was drunk at the time. Because that's what you need after a world war, is another world war. Yeah, let's start one straight away while everybody's still warmed up. Oh. Anyway, Brian, it's been a delight, but unfortunately, we're right out of time. Can't do anything about time. Ticks right along. Time's up. 0345 6060 973. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
Nick Abbot on LBC.
Well, the whole world's gone crazy.
Manzoor's text. Now we have Trump in the US and his trumpet in the UK. He'll blow it quite often. Yeah, possibly. That's what I'm expecting. But, you know, that's Gloomageddon talk, that is. Islington. Hello, James.
Oh, how are you doing, mate?
Good, thanks.
I don't even know where to start with that last caller.
You believe in the what?
I said I don't even know where to start with that last call.
Oh, you don't know. Oh, okay. You don't know where to start.
With regards to Trump.
Right. Start at the very beginning. I think I think he just trolls me. I mean, he calls in pretty much every single show just to troll. Yeah, I think he likes the reaction. He likes the argument. It gives him, it really cleans out his tubes.
Well, the problem with Trump is this. A lot of people are saying Trump has his finger on the nuclear button.
Yeah.
And they think of nuclear weapons. But the biggest nuclear weapon that Trump has his finger on is the global economy. And a lot of people don't know this, but what Trump done on Friday, he waited the market close, and then he came out with all these tariffs against China.
Yeah.
Or threats of tariffs. And what that'll do is, there's a lot of people who took positions out on the market on Friday before close are probably going to be wiped out by what he did.
Well, I wonder if people in his circle knew what he was going to do then took positions late on Friday and then cashed in big time.
Exactly, Nick. This is the second time that he has deliberately done this. After market close on a Friday night, he's hit China with... And what people will do in that scenario is they'll buy gold, they'll buy the yen, and they'll buy the dollar. And they will make a lot of money. And the problem then is, in America, a lot of people have what's called a 401k.
Yeah.
Which is in replacement of their pension.
Right.
And they depend on the market going up and down. And then people are going to get hurt again. So Trump isn't hurting countries or big corporations. He's hurting ordinary people.
Well, I don't think he's remotely interested in the ordinary people, other than getting their vote, which is why he keeps going to the racist thing all the time, because he knows that's going to get him to show up. Fear of other.
Absolutely 100% on that. That's exactly what he's doing.
But I wonder if he's actually. I'd be surprised if he wasn't, because he's got a history of being a con man. I would be surprised if he wasn't actually benefiting from this personally. Because you'd be in the prime position to do it. If you were the president and by releasing some demented tweet you could send the markets up or down, then all you've got to do is put a couple of 100,000 or 1 million here or there, and you'd be just raking it in so fast you wouldn't be able to count it.
Well, can I just say, without naming names, I do believe that there's people in the UK have done exactly the same as what Trump's doing. And
well, we know they have. People made hundreds of millions of pounds by betting against sterling, and while at the same time funding the campaign to exit the European Union. They did that knowing that it would crash the currency, and bet that is what would happen. And they made hundreds of millions of pounds.
But here's the complicated thing, Nick, that a lot of people don't understand. When you have a weak pound, big business in the UK does very well. So
the ones that are pointed outwards, the ones that are selling to other countries because our products are cheaper.
So it's a very complicated situation. But what you're saying is completely correct. I don't know for a fact, but if Trump wasn't doing that, it's the way these announcements are staged. You know, 1 minute he was saying, "Oh, we're doing well." Well, you know, the big joke among traders is, on a Thursday, Trump would always say, "Oh, it's going well with China," and the SP 500 would shoot up. So it's almost as if he was trying to, and then he would say, "Oh, we're at record numbers."
Yeah.
And then they get it so high, they go, "Oh, create this false drama," and it'll just drop. There's no doubt him and his friends are betting.
Well, I don't know whether he personally is, but I would find it surprising if he wasn't, which is one of the reasons that he doesn't want to release his tax returns. I bet.
Well, the reason he doesn't want to release his tax returns is because he's paid zero tax.
Well, no, I don't think it's that. He's boasted that he's paid zero tax because he says that that's the smart thing to do. So he's boasted that. I think that he doesn't want to release his tax returns because he's not as rich as he says he is, and that he's got a significant amount of money from Russia. In fact, one of his sons blurted it out a few years ago, didn't he? I think it was Don Jr., one of them. He said, we have a disproportionate amount of money from Russia. That's what he said.
I reckon he's doing business with Russia, but I think the whole Russian thing's a distraction, to be honest with you. I do. I think it's a democratic distraction. I don't give it much weight. I think it's like, it's back to that, let's create a big boogeyman in Russia,
Well, you may say that, but Russia successfully interfered in the American election. And Donald Trump doesn't want to do anything about it. That's not nothing. And he's also tried to interfere, probably successfully, in our referendum, and will do in the next election.
I don't believe that. Honestly,
you don't believe it?
I do understand.
The FBI said that they did it. The CIA said that they did it. The NSA said that they did it. There's about 15 different government agencies who all came to the same conclusion. And Donald Trump said, "Oh, I don't think so. They didn't do it."
Would your natural implication be to believe those agencies that have interfered in elections all over the world?
Yeah, but not in American elections. That's what they're paid to do, to protect America. And if they all, independent of each other, say that Russia tried, with some degree of success, to interfere in our election, and for the president to side with the president of Russia against his own intelligence agencies, well, I mean, that's describe to me how that's not treason.
Do you know what you've just done? You've just convinced me that Putin has managed to create 50%, actually it's 48% of America, and turn them into racists. You've sold me on that one, honestly.
I don't know whether. Okay, I think you're being sarcastic now, but
no, there's 48% of America think Trump's doing a good job.
That's not. That's completely untrue. I don't know where you got that from. 48%. That's completely untrue. 48. Donald Trump does not have 48% approval rating. Stop getting your news from Donald Trump's Twitter feed. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. But anyway, James, it's been a delight. 0345 6060 973. I mean, how is that not treasonous? Explain that to me, Donald Trump fans, because how you might be able to extricate yourself from that tangled web, I don't know. All of the intelligence community in America, all of them, so many agencies, I couldn't name them. There's so many of them. I had no idea so many existed. And they all said that Russia tried, with some degree of success, we don't know, to interfere in the last election. And Donald Trump took all that on board and said, no, I don't think so. I'm with Vladimir Putin. I mean, it's just incredible. Daniel says, will we be allowed immigrant robots after Brexit, just in case our robots decide to go on benefits? Well, we do know that they'll probably all be made in China, like everything else. We do live in interesting times. There's no doubt about it, and we're in the middle of such a lot. I mean, there's so many things that are about to hit and will change our lives completely, as well as everything that's going on at the moment. What an incredible time to be alive, because and we're in the communication revolution at the moment. I think we're at the foothills. It hasn't even begun yet, really. But what's happened over the last, let's say, 20 years? I mean, 10 years. Really. What was your mobile phone like 10 years ago? Bears no relation to what you got at the moment, right? I mean, you couldn't even conceive 10 years ago that your mobile phone would look like it does now. It's amazing what's going on, and that's just the beginning of it. I mean, in 10 time, people will think back when we used to carry around breakable slabs of glass and point our fingers at them to find out information. We'll probably all be microchipped by that time. And there's the revolution that is coming on power. I mean, goodness knows what that's going to look like. I mean, it's not beyond the wit of man, surely, to put something on the roof that you can't see. That is, I mean, Elon Musk, the guy behind Tesla, he's already invented tiles that you put on a roof that look exactly like tiles, and that turns your entire roof into a solar panel. All you've got to do is be able to store the energy, and you don't need to have an energy company squirt electricity up your house anymore. Wouldn't that be marvellous? They just got to sort out solar power, and you'll be able to have the roof of your car will be able to gain enough power from the light of the sky to power you through the dark and up and down motorways. It's bound to happen. Medicine also. Everything's about to change in the field of medicine. All this stuff, it's all happening now. Some of it's not happening fast enough. Daryl says, robots won't take over all kinds of jobs in the foreseeable future, but automation should mostly be seen as a good thing, giving people more free time, as long as the money is redistributed fairly. What a sense of humour. Fairly, he says, I mean, no one complains about washing machines stopping them doing their laundry by hand. Well, that is true, yeah. Nobody complains about that. But you think that the money made by firing the people and getting the jobs to be done by robots is going to be distributed fairly? He don't know us very well, do he? 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Let me just remind you about my podcast. If you are concerned about the planet, then you will find on the most recent episode of the podcast that there is a very, very alarming way to stop climate change. Somebody called in and gave me something of an eye-opener. I'd never heard it before, and you'll probably be alarmed as well. But it might just work. That's one of the calls that I put on the most recent episode of the Nick Abbot Habit. If you download Global Player from your app store, you'll find it in amongst the podcasts that you'll find there. You can do a search on my name, Nick Abbot, and it comes up. There's two things that'll come up. The whole show and the half an hour best of, which is the Nick Abbot Habit. If you don't do that kind of thing by phone, then point your pewter at it and ask for it by name, the Nick Abbot Habit.
LBC. Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Well, let's get back to it.
Let's get back to Enfield. Why not? Farhan.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hi. We are live streaming on YouTube, and we are called Click Daily.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Pop it on a postcard and stick it in a postbox. Owen says, did you let Jesus into your phone, Nick? Yeah, that's right. It must have been some kind of divine intervention that allowed me to charge my mobile phone up to 100%, as opposed to it just shutting off whenever I stuck the charging cable into it, which it had done previously. It must be Jesus got into my phone. Good point. Thanks, Owen. Mike texts, maybe Trump could buy Iceland instead. I hope he likes cheap, frozen, ready meals. Of course he does. Yeah, look at that svelte physique. And when you say cheap, I think you mean good value for money. Unless they're not advertising with us, in which case, forget it. Graham says, hardly a month goes by in my area without a picture of a missing cat stuck on a lamppost. If the owners of these little beasts love them so much, why don't they look after them instead of letting them roam about? Anyway, it costs me more to feed the damn things than the measly reward offered for them these days. Oh, I think that message took a nasty turn right at the end there. I was blindsided. I think that there are people that keep cats indoors forever, and that just seems cruel to me. Because cats, they like roaming about. When you see a pussycat at a window and it's staring mournfully out and it can't go out because its owner doesn't let it, that just makes me feel sad. Whereas the opposite is true for dogs. No, wait. No, the same is true for dogs, but louder, because you can just let a cat out and the cat's smart and it can find its way back. Dogs are stupid. There's no getting around it. They're stupid and they're loud, which is the worst combination imaginable. Stupid and loud. Nobody in an urban area should be able to own a dog. That should be the law. Isn't that correct? That's not a controversial thing to say, is it?
No.
Stephen tweets, 65 degrees in Glasgow is nothing to sniff at. It's hotter than the boiling point of potassium. I love the taste of potassium in the morning. Tastes like breakfast. 0345 6060 973. So as we heard on the news, the Prime Minister, who is Boris Johnson, well, I wonder if we'll ever get used to that. I suppose around about the same time that we get used to Donald Trump being the President of the United States of America.
I'm President! Can you believe it?
The Prime Minister is going to warn the US President that the NHS is off the table for any post-Brexit trade deal at the G7 summit this weekend. He's laying out his red lines. In public anyway, for the cameras, making a big show of it. Number 10 has insisted neither the NHS nor a watering down of animal welfare or food hygiene standards will be up for discussion in the trade negotiations. Really? Well, I can't wait till you tell Donald Trump that. This is against a backdrop of concerns in this country over chlorinated chicken and the fate of the National Health Service. And they can insist all they like. You can strut around acting the tough guy, Boris, but it ain't going to make no difference to Donald Trump. I mean, we've seen what happens when someone tells Donnie no. See, the problem with him, and this is also the problem with a lot of kids these days, and adults, it's not necessarily a generational thing, it's a parental thing. People grow up without ever hearing the word no. Donald Trump's spent his entire life never being told the word no. And like any spoilt brat child, he just can't take it when someone tries to do it. He throws himself to the floor and starts screaming like a toddler who's been refused a sweet in a supermarket. It's pathetic. And our government can pretend it's going to stick up to him all they like. They know that we are desperate and in a weak position and are exposed. And Donald Trump knows that too. And the Americans behind Donald Trump know that. And the whole world knows it. I mean, it's not like our predicament is a secret. I mean, and you have to remember, it's something that we did to ourselves. We put ourselves in this position. We took a rifle and we shot ourselves in the foot with it. Whether you think that Brexit is a good thing or not, it is indisputable that our current position is our fault. We did this. I mean, could you imagine a worst possible position to be to start negotiating trade deals? I mean, if you could, it would look exactly like the position that we're in now. And no amount of wrapping ourselves in the flag and spluttering, chuntering on about being British, damn it, is going to make the slightest bit of difference. Boris Johnson can go all he likes. The world don't care. They're not impressed. Only we think we're exceptional. It's like parents of a whining child. Nobody else thinks that kid's exceptional. Nobody else wants to hear him scream. Just the parents. And only we think, or are caught up in this idea of British exceptionalism. The idea that we still rule the waves and Johnny Foreigner should bow before us. That's just us, that is. Everybody else sees a chippy, somewhat quaint place stuck in the past, still celebrating a time when we were a potent power, and somewhat unable to come to terms with the fact that we're not that now. We're a small, money laundering racket off the coast of Europe, and like a child that's just gone to the big school, desperate to make friends but unwilling to accept that we're not the biggest boy in the playground anymore. That's us, that is. And all that posturing about our red lines with America. Well, we won't accept their food, and we won't accept the NHS demands, and we won't take instruction on foreign policy or taxation, or who our ambassadors are. I mean, all that tough guy talk from Boris in foreign places, that's not for the benefit of the people of the G7. It's for our benefit, to make us feel better about him. And if he's doing all that tough talk about Donald Trump, that you can absolutely bet that our people are calling his people night and day, saying, well, we don't mean it. Please don't get the hump. What a palaver, eh? And meanwhile, Boris Johnson's set to use the summit as a stage to project Britain's position as a world power. But particularly in light of recent comments by Emmanuel Macron that Brexit would represent an historic vassalisation for the UK. Vassalisation. And Mr Johnson said, some people question the democratic decision this country has made, fearing that we will retreat from the world. Some think that Britain's best days are behind us. To those people I say, you are gravely mistaken. We will park our gunboats off your coasts and demand that you buy our drugs. We will invade your countries and force you to like cricket. We will stop your lands for tea at 3. What absolute rot. Half the world used to be run by us. Of course our best days are over. I mean, that's not a bad thing. You just grow older. Times change. We just got to get used to our position in the world. It's not like it used to be. Never will be again. Now, the bearded Beelzebub seems to be the only person who's making any sense. Cutting through all of this nonsense, Jeremy Corbyn said the UK should use its position in the G7, on the UN Security Council and the international financial institutions to promote policies to tackle the climate emergency and that are proven to reduce inequality and improve lives around the world, including universal healthcare and education and social security, said Jeremy Corbyn. He said, instead, this weekend we'll see the ugly spectacle of our Prime Minister pursuing his Trump-first policy, putting us at the mercy of a US administration that threatens peace and prosperity and the future of our planet. Holy moly. Meanwhile, Boris Johnson's bellyaching about, not bellyaching, he's trying to impress us with the tough talk about red lines. And Jeremy Corbyn just scythed him down in one sentence. And Jeremy Corbyn's the enemy of the people. Right. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Squire tweets, I'm surprised that the Orange Nightmare hasn't blamed Hillary for the Amazon fire. She's guilty of all the other world's woes. Brazil needs to follow Trump's advice and sweep the forest floor to avoid further fires like they do in Finland, apparently. I'm amazed he hasn't said that yet. It's because Brazil is run by his kind of guy. Like 2 peas in a pod they are. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Yeah! Dude!
I really like you. Do you like me?
Love more like it. James says, if Amazon burns down, where am I going to buy my pants, socks and food for the cat? Don't worry, James, it's not that Amazon. Much, much less serious. Ian texts, should I be concerned about rowboats taking over as our rivers and boating lakes are our rivers and boating lakes no longer safe? No. Yes, no, in that order. And Richard says, following up on your pronunciation of GIF, can you let us know if you've received any decent gifts for your recent birthday. Yeah, it's not my pronunciation of GIF, it's the pronunciation of the guy who invented the thing. I thought that everybody got that memo. He came on the news, maybe it's about a year ago now, and everybody had been pronouncing it GIF, because it's GIF. And it looks like GIF. And he said, no, you've been getting it all wrong. I didn't want to say anything, but everyone's a stupid moron. It's GIF. Okay, he didn't say the stupid moron part, but he did actually set us straight. GIF it is. So I was, and it's probably the only thing that I have been right about in this entire show. But I know I'm right about that, because it's right from the horse's mouth. Catherine texts, in Cardiff, this is in answer to what on earth is going on in Cardiff. You got all that boom, boom, boom music, said some complainer, some whiner.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
And Catherine says, in Cardiff, it's the big weekend, a kind of festival type thing. The fireworks are awesome.
Groovy.
Huh. Well, I like fireworks. What's not to like about fireworks? And Stella tweets, I want the robots to rise up and save us. Yeah, well, how likely does that sound?
Negative.
Yeah, not likely at all. Like I said, I've seen that film. By the way, there's going to be a new Terminator film coming out shortly. It's like September, October, something like that. How marvellous is that? Assuming it's going to be a good one. Because I think they've almost all been good, apart from the one that I just saw, which wasn't good at all. In fact, it looked like they made it in a weekend in a hurry, and for no money at all. It was, I think, Terminator Genesis. I think it was that one. It's the one where, spoiler alert.
Warning, warning.
It's the one where all the robots show up at the same time. Anyway, you don't want to watch that one, but I hope the next one is good. Andrew texts, Cardiff is staging Welsh Pride this weekend, as in gay. In brackets. Right. Not proud about being Welsh. The other one. Right, let's have... who's been waiting the longest? Lost Scythe. Andy.
Hi there, Nick. How you doing?
I'm great, mate.
Right, just before I ask my question, I do personally think we should have you for Prime Minister. You mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm still of the opinion you should be.
Well, is it a full-time job? Because if so, then I don't want it.
Allegedly it is.
Right, can I do it on just 2 days a week?
Well, I don't know. You might have to ask the civil servants about that one, Nick.
Well, Andy, we could job share. How does that sound?
Oh, I don't know. Don't give it to me. No, I don't want it.
Well, I think that if you want it, you shouldn't be allowed to have it.
Anyway, my question to you is, Nick,
yes.
is, do you think that, I know I've actually heard something on the YouTube, you talk about drivers, so I'll not get you going on that, because I know you do just cannot stand the
Can't stand drivers. Everybody else on the road is an idiot, Andy. Remember that.
Well, thankfully I don't drive, Nick, because I've got a visual impairment, which is my question I'm going to ask for you, right? So
yeah.
The roads are safer with you not being on it, right?
Right.
But what I would ask you is, do you think that we'll have driverless cars in the future where people like myself with disabilities can drive? Because it'd be an awful lot easier to get around.
God, I can't wait till driverless cars come in. The problem with driverless cars is that all of the other cars with drivers, because the drivers are going to bully the driverless cars. They're going to be they're not going to let them in from side roads. They're going to be pushing in traffic and just acting like the numpties that they do at the moment. And driverless cars are going to be avoiding crashing, because that's the number one function.
Well, that's it. And I mean, I'm just wondering as well whether if they would take short routes or how it would work, because how would it work with somebody who you'd have to obviously work on the internet or work on a Wi-Fi system where you'd have to put in maybe a postcode for somebody with a sight impairment. You have to put a postcode in, and it would have to drive it exactly to where it was to go exactly.
Yeah.
Because how would the visually impaired person know? I mean, I've got partial sight, but it'd be quite interesting to know how that will work actually, and it's an interesting debate actually.
It's amazing how quickly things are changing. Just a couple of years ago, you remember if you spoke to your phone or to some other listening device, it didn't understand what you were saying, and then almost overnight, they fixed it. It was amazing how quickly it all came together. And now you can chat away to your phone or your smart speaker, and it knows precisely what you're saying in practically any accent. It's amazing how quickly things have changed.
It's great with the technology for us, because certainly I use like technology an awful lot, and I remember somebody saying once that the written word now is not so important, because obviously you can speak things and you dictate it.
Yeah.
You have the internet. It's a lot easier for us, and I'm not just that don't have to do handwriting. We could just dictate into something and it'll read it, or we can type it in. But we have screen technology, and it's just like the iPhone. Obviously, you've got it all built in for people with disabilities. It's really good now how technology is.
Yeah, absolutely, and you don't have to read newspapers or books or emails or any of that kind of thing. It can be read to you.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot better nowadays. There's a lot more opportunities, but we've still got a long way to go as well.
Oh, yeah.
Attitudes are changing towards all that kind of thing. It's really good now.
Well, we're all going to be living longer, and our bodies aren't going to stop falling apart, and so there's going to be a lot of us who won't be able to walk or see or hear or any of the things that we take for granted as young people, and so the market for people to make money to provide for all of us is going to be immense. So things are going to change very rapidly.
I want something on the actually, because I'm part of a voluntary organisation, and I want something about how the elderly. There was a programme about how the technology could help elderly people to maybe communicate with the computer or something to get stuff done, or to do stuff, and to help it with different things. And if a carer was coming, different stuff like that. It's very interesting actually how technology could even help when we do get older. To be able to have more productive lives. Yeah,
absolutely. I've decided not to get older, Andy.
No, we don't want to get old. No, that's it, mate. We want to be like we are forever.
Yeah, I've decided to get younger from this moment on.
Well,
and that's my final decision.
That's quite right. You stick with that now.
All right, I will do. I'll let you know how it goes. Thanks a lot, Andy. 0345 6060 973. Darren tweets, Did you see the video of Donny saying that his favourite book is the Bible? Yeah, I did. That's quite an old video, that. When asked what his favourite psalm or story was from the Bible, he said, I don't want to talk about it. It's very personal to me and has helped me in my life. Hilarious, says Darren. Yeah, it certainly was. Which was your favourite part of the Bible, Donny? Oh, I like all of it. Sure you do. Yeah, you live your life dependent on the teachings of Jesus. Yeah, and it seems to me like proof positive that there is no such thing as God, that Donald Trump hasn't burst into flames yet. You'd think he'd be right at the toppermost of God's to smite list. That's my religious opinion, and it's just as good as yours. Here's a call in Finchley. Stephen.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Right, can I ask you what religion you are, please?
Zero religion. I have no religion.
Right, well, what you are basically is a blasphemist, right?
Oh,
you said your mobile...
Yeah. This is a call from the 15th century.
No, you said that your mobile phone works through Jesus, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're running down the Bible, but you wouldn't say that Muhammad would do it, would you? Because your phone service would be blocked.
Yeah, okay, great point, Stephen. Away with your furious anger. I'll leave you to your angry purple life. What is it with religious types? They always seem so furiously angry with everyone. I didn't think that that's what Jesus was about. I thought he was all about, accepting and kindness to others. But religious types, they just seem, well, I don't like you, and I don't like you, and I hate you. That's one of the reasons that I just can't abide religion of any kind. And finally, we've got out from under the dark cloud of religion in this country. And we've stepped into the light. How marvellous. We're at the point where much less than 50% of the population do not subscribe to any religion. Good. Took us a while. Finally, we got there. But people like that guy who insist that they're religious, they don't seem to base their life on open-hearted, caring. It's the opposite of that. They seem to base their life on who they hate. And I didn't think that that's what Jesus was all about. But, maybe I got it wrong. You're the expert, Stephen. I hate you, and I hate you, and you should die. That kind of thing. Yeah, that sounds exactly like Jesus. Marion says, I'm not sure if you were getting my texts tonight. Am I inputting text correctly? No, Marion. Because you did that with perfect punctuation and spelling. All of the spelling was correct. So that is obviously wrong. You're doing something wrong. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC, Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC, leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet your life it is. Tina texts, I love your show, but you said that it's going to hit up to 88 degrees this week. Yeah, that is completely correct. 88 degrees. Tina, he, she, or it says that temperature would kill us. It's 88 Fahrenheit, which is 27 degrees Celsius, not degrees. And you have the cheek to call other callers idiots. It's 88 degrees, Tina. What are you talking about? It may well be the 27 degrees Celsius, but I don't think so. 88 degrees Fahrenheit. To get to Celsius, you double it and add 32. So 88 times 2 is 175. And add 2 to 175 is like 230? 230, is that right?
Yes.
So it's going to be 230 degrees Celsius. Stupid. Any fool know that. James says, please read my texts out. They cost me. What? They cost you? Who pays for texts? And I will not read them out. Let's have Merseyside. Eileen. Come on, Eileen.
Hi,
Eileen.
Hiya. I think what you just said was really out of order because...
To whom?
I'm going to ask you a question.
To whom?
Pardon?
About... What did I just say?
About Jesus.
Oh, which
now,
bit?
I'm going to ask you something.
Which bit? Which bit about Jesus are you objecting to?
What was the slur you just made about him?
The
and
slur?
Fact that you are secular. Yeah, you slurred him.
Well,
now,
what did I say? What slur did I say?
Well, if I...
Wow. Well, I saved your ears there, ladies and gentlemen. We're running a delay here. Good thing too, eh? Whew. There's another religious nut spewing hatred and things that we can't even put on the radio. Hang your head in shame. What is it with these people? They seem to, while cloaking themselves in religion, they seem to live their lives the exact opposite way that a reasonable person in the street would expect from somebody who did subscribe to the word of the Lord. Unless I'm getting all this wrong, in which case you can correct me by post only. Jim says, Nick, do you think it was a cloud of potassium dust that inadvertently wafted itself into your lungs a month or so back? I don't know. What does it taste like? Does it taste a bit like chicken? And Joan says, Trump thinks he's God and Boris thinks he's Winston Churchill. No need to worry about the future. Yeah, we're doomed. We're all going to die, Joan. That much is true. I mentioned this earlier on. Donald Trump, yesterday we were all concerned about Denmark because Donald Trump had a massive fit that Denmark was rude to him. And he just kept going on and on and on about it. Well, what a difference a day makes, eh? Donald Trump says that the Danish Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, called him and they had a great conversation. And now he's completely changed his mind about Denmark. From one day to the next, he goes from hate to love.
Oh, fabulous.
What's he like? He said we had a great conversation. This is the people that he called nasty. The Danish Prime Minister was nasty. He seems to throw that word out about women specifically. Women who don't, bend to his will are all nasty. Not that he, has it in for women.
I cherish women.
Yeah, sure you do. With both of your sticky little hands. He said, she called me a wonderful woman. Now, wait a minute. She called you a wonderful woman? Maybe she called me, she is a wonderful woman. This is the person that he called nasty the previous day. And this is the guy that we're going to trust to give us a huge and tremendous trade deal. A man who changes his mind like the direction of the wind. She called me a wonderful woman. We had a great conversation. We have a very good relationship with Denmark, and we agreed to speak later, he said yesterday. In total contrast to the day before. He says, but she was very nice. She put a call in, and I appreciated it very much. If you're blowing smoke up his area, he loves you. He loves you if you spend money in his hotels and buy his gaudy apartments, and he loves you if you tell him how handsome and smart and wonderful and popular he is. But he throws a tantrum that you could see through concrete if you treat him like an adult, as opposed to flattering him like a whiny baby. Frederiksen's office, the Danish Prime Minister's office, said that the two leaders spoke, and the Danish media reported that the call was constructive. And that was necessary because Trump announced that he was scrapping his 2-day state visit after that absurd idea of buying Greenland was called absurd. And when he heard that his absurd idea was called absurd, he flounced out of the visit about a week before he was supposed to go, like a teenager having a strop. And that was after Denmark had put welcome Trump signs on buildings, just to make him happy. It's like he's untethered from reality. It's like he's got no strategy to do his job at all.
There's no strategy. I have no strategy. There's zero strategy.
He planned to visit Denmark on September the 2nd and the 3rd. That's only about a week or so away. Until he was told by the Danish leader that Greenland's not for sale. And President Donald Trump's idea of buying the semi-autonomous Danish territory in the Arctic from Denmark is an absurd discussion. Well, it was absurd. And Donnie whined so much that even babies were saying, suck it up. And so in a fit, he cancelled the first visit of his presidency to Denmark. Which was, and get this, his visit was framed as a thank you to the nation that supported the US military missions in Iraq and Syria and Afghanistan. That was the purpose of the visit. To thank the Danish people for their sacrifice. God, he is absolutely the worst person in the world ever. Well, maybe not ever, but he is currently the worst person in the world.
Affirmative.
Yeah, there can be no doubt about that. So he was going there on an official visit from America. America thanking Denmark for their sacrifice in supporting America in their various demented wars. But that don't mean nothing to Donnie. He flounced out after he felt that a woman disrespected him. Huh. Don't mean nothing to Donnie. I would imagine he didn't even know what the trip was for. He probably thought that it was, for the further glorification of Donald Trump. He probably imagined they wanted to praise him for excellence in being him. And it didn't just affect him. The First Lady, Melania Trump, she was supposed to have accompanied him and had dinner with the Queen of Denmark. Wouldn't that have been nice? So you won't be spending any quality time with your precious Melania?
I don't care.
Not remotely bothered. And the Prime Minister of Denmark said she was disappointed. She wasn't angry, she was disappointed and surprised by Trump's decision to cancel his 2-day stop in her country. Disappointed because, she normally deals with grown-ups. She was disappointed and surprised. Everyone else isn't remotely surprised. I mean, we've left surprised behind a long time ago.
I'm president. Can you believe it?
No, still coming to terms. Still coming to terms. 0345 6060 973. Let's have a call in Sevenoaks. Hello, Mark.
Hi. I'd like to ask whether you think Britain was and is powerful because in the past and now it was and is part of the biggest trading bloc in the world. In the past it was part of the empire and now it's part of the EU.
That's right.
And I mean, just in these past few days, the president of Brazil has been saying all sorts of things about other people not interfering in his country. And then all of a sudden he's changed it because of the possibility of problems with an EU trade deal.
Well, we are a trading nation. That's what we do for a living. It's both visible, products, machines, pharmaceuticals, that sort of thing. And it's also invisible, which is the financial finagling that we seem to specialize in. And so without trading on free terms with an enormous market, we're nothing.
Sure, but the point is that being part of that has in the past and now given us great influence over things.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, in the past, the slave trade, which people have been talking about, was abolished by this country. Not that this country abolished it for its own people; it abolished it for the world. It seized foreign ships carrying slaves, freed the slaves, and kept the ships as a fine. And it could do that because it was part of the biggest trading bloc. That's how it could afford the sort of strength that required.
Well, that sounds all very honourable, but forgetting the part about us making a ton of money from those slaves in the first place. I mean, you go to one of those country houses that I like to go to of a weekend, and you wonder how on earth did they pay for this giant pile? And they did it more often than not by the money that accrued from trading slaves.
That's true, but I wasn't talking about the morality of the country. I was talking about its powerfulness, and the fact that it could do what I said in terms of disrespecting the ships flying other countries' flags and so on was due to its power in that respect. Sure, I mean, in that case it used its power well. In many cases it did not. I'm not suggesting that the previous biggest trade bloc in the world was anything like as democratic as the current one.
No.
So I mean, I'm quite. The current situation makes me much happier than the previous one.
Well,
right?
yes.
No?
I mean, let's not barge into countries, kill people who object, tell them they're doing it all wrong, and force them to play cricket. Let's leave that behind.
Yes, but I mean, but as in the Brazil forest fires demonstrated, we don't need to barge into countries. Not with this sort of influence that we have now.
Oh, you think that Brazil is starting to put their fires out, or is contemplating putting their fires out because of us?
Well, yes, because we're part of the EU, and they want a trade deal with the EU.
Right. Okay. The EU. Yeah. Not
yes.
us.
Yes.
Not us.
I'm not suggesting that if we were not part of the EU, they'd take a blind bit of notice.
Right. Okay.
So no, that's the point.
Yes. Now we're on the same page. Yes, we're a trading nation, so we absolutely do need a preferably nearby giant market for the things that we sell. A market like, the European Union, for instance.
Yes, and an expanding market as well, which it is doing, and spreading democracy and
all of that good stuff.
Prosperity.
Mm.
So these people who want us to leave, what do they call him? Britain Trump.
Yeah, Britain Trump. And apparently Boris is okay with that because, he doesn't want to say anything to upset his master. Why would you? All right, Mark, I've got to go, but thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbot.
He's a great guy. He's a good guy. He's a good person.
Thanks, Donny. You're the best. This anonymous text says, I am sick of listening to your personal opinion on air. Surely there are other topics to be discussed that are not based around your political views. You know what I do when I hear something that I don't want to listen to on that come on the radio? Or a program that I don't want to watch come on TV? I do something else. That's what I do, but maybe that's just me. What you do, my anonymous interlocutor, is whine. That's what you do. You've decided to whine.
Stop whining.
And because you're one of those people that thinks that if you don't like something, it should not exist. That's self-centered, I think, is one way of describing it. Vaunting narcissism is another. I blame the parents. People have grown up with the idea that if they don't like something, it should not exist. And they go into a purple fit when something does come across their eye line. Or they hear something that they don't like. How's the whining working for you, by the way? Has it improved your life any? I'll assume that the answer is no. 0345 6060 973. Baden-Württemberg. Marco.
Good morning, Mr. Abbott.
Marco, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. I have two solutions for Brexit that have never been uttered, and I'm not an evil European overlord. I'm just an average German.
Yeah.
guy.
Okay, lay 'em on us, baby.
The first one would be for Canada to join the European Union and Great Britain to join the United States. We would have a strong Atlantic bond, a strong North Atlantic relationship, and we would do a huge and tremendous trade deal, and all would be fine.
Yeah. Well, Canada is more, and I haven't actually been to Canada, but from what I know, they're more of a European mindset than America, certainly.
Yes, but my second suggestion is maybe mind-blowing.
Okay, here we go. Grip onto something firm, everybody. Our minds are about to be blown.
Seriously, they will be.
Yeah.
I just say two words, but they're just one word. Newfoundland. It is an island. It's part of Canada.
Yeah.
It has a size of 42,000 square miles. The size of Great Britain is 80,000 square miles. And that's the mind-blowing suggestion. Brexiteers want to get so far away from Europe as they can. They want to not have any ties with Europe. So why don't just settle all the Brexiteers on Newfoundland by a purchase, just like Trump suggested to buy Greenland. Britain could suggest to buy Newfoundland, settle all the Brexiteers on Newfoundland, and leave the Ramonas on Great Britain. It will solve so much because house prices will fall in Great Britain.
Yeah.
And there will be so much space. And in Newfoundland, all the pioneer spirit of the Brexiteers can expand and explode and flourish, and all will be happy.
Wow.
Maybe the Canadians will not be happy, but who cares about?
Yeah, who cares about the Canadians? Absolutely right. Yeah, they've got it coming.
Yeah.
Excellent work, Marco. There you are, you see, and we can wave them all ta-ta.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right, thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. There you are. Problem solved. DJ Augustus tweets, Trump has the right not to believe the US government agents on Russia interfered in the US election. Prior to Iraq war, Bush and Blair told the world they had intelligence that Saddam had weapons of mass destruction, which was a big lie ever. It was a big lie ever. Right, well, some of that made sense. Dave tweets, you're confirming again another prophecy confirming the end times. More and more people will become godless and blasphemous, and the love of many will become cold. Another message from the 15th century. 0345 6060 973. Let's have poshest Harrogate, Martin.
Hello, good morning, Nick.
Yes, sir.
Sir, we gather every Saturday evening and every Friday night, and we listen to a unique gentleman who has character, charisma, who is one of the finest that there is in his profession.
Andrew Pearce? No, he's not on Saturday.
And one day we will gather together to celebrate the free soul of dear Nick Abbott.
Right.
Who is, again, going to be free. Everybody on this planet will one day be free to do whatever they want to actually do. But, Nick, you are supreme in the work you do. Absolutely.
Wow, I think you've lost your mind, Martin, and that's the nicest way I can put it.
Mate, to be honest with you, look, Nick, I was going to go slightly down the religious angle, but I'm not going to do it, pal.
Okay,
But
good.
you are absolutely, mate, you are brilliant. You are one of the finest since the 1970s of your type.
Well, I'm the only person that's on LBC at this moment. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're brilliant, mate.
All right, thanks a lot, Martin. I can't take praise. Only insults. 0345 6060 973. Steve texts, Nick, the fires in the Amazon are partially the EU's fault, as the trade deal they have signed with Brazil includes buying their beef. To raise cattle, you need land, hence burn the forest to clear the land for grass to grow. So the EU buying Brazilian beef creates the need for more land. Well, if you want to trace it back, yes, all of the problems in the world are solvable by us, the consumer. Unfortunately, we are not ethical consumers. We like to think that we are, because, every now and again we like to buy organic milk. Or, we like to buy a chicken, as long as the chicken has got a picture of it on the front of the box that its egg comes in. But we aren't actually ethical consumers at all. We don't care about the ruination of the planet, as long as what we buy off the shelves is cheap. That's all we really care about. And, if they make cheap beef in Brazil by cutting down a rainforest, well, we're not remotely bothered. As long as it tastes juicy and nice. I mean, fast fashion is the same. I think cotton is the worst crop as far as the amount of pesticides that is required to grow it that exists. I don't think there's any crop that requires more pesticides than cotton. I don't know if this is correct or not, but I have it in mind that coffee is number 2 on that list. And we don't care about that either. But what do we do with that information that we know that cotton is really, really bad? It's pretty much the absolute worst thing that you can buy if you have any consideration for the planet. We don't care. And we buy fast fashion. By which I mean we buy a lot of cheap tat that we try on once, wear maybe once, that's it, and then we throw it away. Because what we really got from buying it was the thrill of the purchase. You get a little squirt of dopamine running around your brain, and you feel happy. But we just, because it's cheap, it's badly made, but it had to be made of material that had to be grown and sewn together by some poor tyke who works probably 12 hours a day, 7 days a week in some windowless sweatshop. We don't care about that either, just as long as it's cheap. So yeah, if I agree with you, actually. Most of the problems in the world are caused by us, the consumer. If only we were ethical consumers and acted in the way that reflects what we like to think of ourselves as, being caring and considerate and nice, or polite even, then things would change. I absolutely guarantee that people will stop selling us destructive, cheap tat if we stop buying it. That is completely true. But we won't. So never mind, eh? It's only life. Who cares? Let's have a call in Streatham. Hello, John.
Hello there, Nick. Hi.
How you doing?
Not too bad. I was just calling up about hate.
Hate?
Because I've started up a Twitter account and unfortunately...
no, a Twitter account.
Warning!
Who are you following?
Your friend.
Donny.
And I'm in quite an odd corner of the internet because I've sort of opened up a bit of Twitter where his demented tweets are popping out. In the last 50 minutes, he's already tweeted out four. Never mind leading the free world.
Yeah. You'd think he'd be busy. Apparently not.
And the interesting thing is that I should sort of quieten down because I have neighbours. Sorry, I get excited on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm on his Twitter account. You can see the likes and retweets accumulating. So as I'm talking to you, I've not seen this part of Twitter before. They're sort of going up. So
that's a relatively new feature that you can see the numbers click up as people like it. Yeah.
12,000, 18,000, 15,000. I saw an outrageous video, and this is only in half an hour. I saw an outrageous video this morning of him where he sat there, and you've got all of these poor and desperate refugees, and they're all sort of stood around their benevolent white master. Have you seen it? And he sort of puts his hand out, and he sort of shakes their hand, and they all sort of plead to be allowed to stay in the US. And there's that Yazidi girl who says, my parents and brothers were killed.
That was absolutely excruciating. My entire family was killed, and Donald Trump's question was, where are they now? And she just looked at him and said, they're dead.
And
that's fantastic. Please tell me more. Tell me more about how great I am.
It gets worse because to try and backtrack from that, he said, and you won the Nobel Prize. Why don't you tell these people, why don't you justify to them why you deserved it?
No, he didn't say that because he wants the Nobel Prize almost as much as he wants the Medal for Valor. Did you hear that? God, he was addressing a group of ex-servicemen. And their Medal for Valor, or I can't remember exactly what the name of it is, but it's basically the highest medal that you can get for bravery in the face of the enemy. And Donald Trump, to those ex-servicemen, those brave men and women, Donald Trump said, and I thought that I should get it, and they said, well, you can't. I said, well, nobody will give it to you because you haven't been in the military. He said, well, can I give it to myself? And they said, no, that's not a very good idea. And we just blurted that out.
Can I mention one thing before I go, one last thing on the subject of hate?
Go on.
I think I'm quite a mild-mannered person, but I've developed this habit now of really getting into furious rows with individuals, one of whom you've got a new podcast with. This was about a decade ago, but she banned me. And then recently one of your former colleagues has banned me from his new show on another station.
Right.
So I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
If you've just joined Twitter, let me give you some advice. This is excellent advice for you and everybody else that's on social media in general.
Yes.
Don't read messages. Do not read the messages that people send to you. I stopped reading messages on social media a couple of years ago now, and you know how much I miss it? Not at all. At all.
I don't have any followers. So what I did is because I've been banned by so many. I've been banned by so many of your colleagues.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting any followers. So instead, I just put out a tweet saying that Nigel Farage is the great, is our new great leader, and I got 3 followers immediately.
Yeah, I bet you did. Yeah.
I need to be careful the sort of people I cultivate.
They'll be following you down the shops and all the way back home, John. Don't you worry about that.
I should be so lucky.
All right. Well, in closing, on social media,
be polite.
Let that be your watchword. And that don't read messages thing. That's really important because people get all hung up about that. People spend their entire lives all of their spare time on Twitter trying to troll people just to get a rise out of them. Just to feel superior. It's just, and at the end of your lives, you'll think, hey, what have I done with my life? Oh yeah, I upset somebody that I don't know in a location that I'm unfamiliar with. Wow, really? That's great. What did you do with your spare time? Did you read books? Did you watch films? Did you go out and make a positive difference to the world? No, I just spewed some hate to people I don't know on the internet. Oh, well, that's great. Yeah, well done. Just pack it in, people, because this is not a rehearsal. What happens when you're waiting for your life to start is your life.
Coming up at 1 on LBC, Richard Spur.
How likely is Boris Johnson to achieve his aims at the G7? And has the Prime Minister got any chance of avoiding a no-deal Brexit?
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late.
Here's a call in Whitechapel. Hello, Kieran.
Hi, hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, Kieran.
I would like to speak about the religion which you were speaking earlier.
Go on.
Okay. Now, what I would like to say is I was grown up in a very religious Hindu family, and now more and more I look into the religion and all this division which is happening. I found out religion is the oldest propaganda.
Yes.
And it is just dividing people and creating enemy between the community and everything in the name of religion.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It doesn't bring people together, it sets them apart. People who have religion seem to define themselves by who they hate rather than who they love.
Yeah, because all the religion speaks the same language. They speak the heaven, hell, every religion same. All the things which you do, it's a sin if you do bad. But nobody wants to come together. They just set the standard of their own principles, and just they are fighting with each other rather than believing in the what best.
Well, just being, and you see, I don't really know very much about religion or any other subject for that matter. But it seems to me that if you live your life in the way that Jesus or whatever God you believe in would want, it would be more about loving people, even if they disagree with you about the precise nature of where we go and where we've come from and all of the rest of it. All of these gaps in our scientific knowledge, even if you disagree. But it seems that with religious people, if you disagree slightly, then they want to kill you, which doesn't seem to be, the message of love to me.
Yes, and I always go down and have a debate with my friends and colleagues when they think, religion, this religion is doing bad.
That's a big mistake, Kieran. The debate about religion with your friends and colleagues. I'd back off that if I were you. I mean, talk about football or the weather or anything else.
Yeah, because for football we're allowed to talk about rivalry and everything, but in a religion, because all the religion claims we are the religion of peace and love and harmony, but
it's the opposite of that, it seems to me.
But everyone is doing the opposite. That's the really sad thing.
It is pretty sad, yes.
Yeah, and now there's more and more of people becoming more and more extremist.
Mm-hmm.
I think before in the 50s, 60s, more hippie area, I think people were more religion, but they were more free and they were accepting all the religion. Now, another religion doesn't accept other religion, and they're just dividing. And
everybody hates everybody else, because that's the way God wants it, apparently. Yeah, it doesn't make no sense to me. But I think that we take. I think that we. It's not a linear equation, but I think that we shuffle forwards tentatively, and we're going in the right direction. I think there's far fewer people who are religious now. Well, certainly in this country, that's absolutely indisputable. It's under 50% who even believe in God now. We're out from under the cloud. How marvellous to be free of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just believe in humanity.
Yes, just be nice. I mean, if there is, and I don't personally believe it, but if there is heaven and God and you have to answer for your the way that you've lived your life and all of that, then spending your entire life hating people for believing things that are slightly different to you doesn't seem like it will get you into heaven to me. Just being considerate and nice and, caring about people and not undercutting people on a roundabout, that seems to me to be, more likely to get you into the good place.
Yeah, that's why me and my wife, we believe being nice, and it's nice to be nice.
It's nice to be nice. Yes, that's right. Spot on, Kieran. I think you should start a religion.
No, I don't want to start any religion.
Right.
No.
All right then. Well, it's not whether you want to or not. These things are thrust upon you sometimes, Kieran. I think it's your duty. I'll see you down the pews. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. I'll sum it up in 2 words.
Be polite.
Yeah. Just try that once in a while. Unless you don't want to, in which case forget it. St Albans. Hello, Hayley.
Good morning. Hello, and
Hayley.
Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for making your call. I'm super. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, I just switched on and I heard you talking about religion and people's idea of hate within their religion. I believe in a thing I've always called the power of good, and I've always tried to do that in life, regardless of whether other people see the world through different eyes to myself. I embrace their views and opinions and uphold their right to have them, as long as they are lawful and legal.
Wow. We've found somebody considerate. It took us a while, but we finally found someone.
Well, it's rather interesting because where I live in Hertfordshire, there's a lot of religious groups, very sort of culty type of groups, and I'm a transgendered person who was forced to come out under very malicious circumstances. But 3 years ago, I saved a woman's life. A man rammed his wife off the road, was trying to kill her. The car was burning. It was all mangled up. She had hit a lamppost at high speed. I was dragging her out of this burning car, and I saved her life. And I still stood my ground, even though she was semi-conscious, against this guy with an iron bar. Now, the interesting part of it is...
Well, there's something... Because I'm wrapped. There's going to be something more interesting than what you just said?
No,
okay, go ahead.
No, but it's interesting that I've done that, put my life at risk, and prepared my mind for the fact that I may pay with my life to save that person. But the only thing this group of people that can consider is I'm transgendered, so I'm evil.
Yeah.
And that's the bit I find it hard to get my head round. I love all religions. I believe there is a supreme power. There is something greater than myself. But I just call it the power of good. And if I can show any kindness, I may not pass this way again. Right. So that's what I do.
Well, that sounds like a way to live your life. Just show a little bit of kindness every now and again. Put a smile on your face, and you never know, you might get one back. But there's a lot of religious types in Hertfordshire, you say. Another excellent reason not to go there. Yeah, Hayley, I'm gonna have to go, but thanks for that.
Take care.
All right, ta-da. And finally, let me just wipe up some of these texts and emails and so on, because it would be remiss of me not to. John says, if Jesus were... no. George says, always wondered what you'd answer to this. If you had to choose between spending 24 hours in a locked room with Donald Trump or locked in a room watching the new Blade Runner on repeat for 24 hours, what would you choose? Well, it's no choice. I mean, I hated the new Blade Runner because it was just 2.5 hours of what's-his-name staring out the window, supposedly thinking deep thoughts. But we knew that he wasn't because he was a blooming robot.
Affirmative.
What is it? What is that guy's name? I can't remember what his name is. Anyway, the guy who's in the new one. Spoiler alert.
Warning.
Harrison Ford punched him in the face. It took almost the entire film for him to get punched in the face. That was my favourite part. And Frank texts, if Jesus was Jewish, why has he got a Mexican name? I think you're definitely going to hell for that one, Frank. But it does make me think that I would like a couple of pints of margarita around about now. I'm going to be back tonight at 10, an extra show for good behaviour.